Hello, my dear Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your astrological forecast for the upcoming month of March. Now, let's see the main astrological events from your point of view. We start the month with the full moon on the 7th of March. It happens at 16 degrees Virgo. For you, according to the whole sign system, the full moon will illuminate your 8th house, which usually talks about shared resources, about finances that you share together with your business partners, your spouse, maybe family if you have family business. With 8th house and full moon there, it usually signifies some culmination, some clarity about what is going on with all sorts of loans, mortgages, inheritances, any sort of financial or emotional support you receive from others. It might be some money that you get from the bank or from the government, some sponsors, investors in your business. Work with clients might now reach its peak, or you might launch finally your own business. You might find finally the people who will sponsor and support you. For some of you, particularly Aquarius, that might be a news about pregnancy or giving birth, as 8th house talks about the scorpionic topics about death and rebirth. Also, there might be some news or culmination in your intimate personal relationships. So maybe there will be some revelations about a partner, about a person that you normally trust very much. This full moon promises to be a bit more hectic because it squares Mars in Gemini in your 5th house. 5th house also talks about business, so maybe there is a lot of action involving your business activities. 5th house also can talk about personal romantic relationships, so definitely some kind of a passion is kindled here. And 5th house talks as well about children, but already, well, first of all, it might be about children that you already have, so there might be some news from their side. Maybe they need some financial support. Or maybe you are now looking for really how to progress with your business, or how to make your creative project, your hobby, a successful profession and personal business. The good news is also that this full moon makes a positive aspect, a trine to Uranus. Uranus, the planet of modernization and surprises, in your 4th house. So certainly there might be some unexpected events, news, surprises related to your family, to your place of living, to your home. Talking about full moon in the 8th house, maybe there will be some possibilities for investment in property, or as we said, family business, real estate business. Maybe there will be some inheritances indeed, or you will receive money in order to repair or buy property, or you rent a house and you start getting your passive income from it. By the way, this full moon might be related to some processes that started in your life around the new moons, the last 2 new moons in the same sign of Virgo, in the same part of your natal chart. So think back about the days around 27th of August last year, 2022, or 7th of September 2021. Something that you wrote down in your diary of new moon wishes, or something that you planted as intention, as idea, as project, now probably comes to some culmination or ending. On the same day, dear Aquarius, we have an important transit. Your ruler, your traditional ruler Saturn, after spending 3 years in your own sign, is going to the next one. He goes into Pisces, where he will stay till February 2026, another 3 years. It's an important event because, of course, our rulers, the planets that rule us, they talk a lot about how we feel, how we interact with the world, what are our needs. Every time they shift into different signs, as if we are dressed in the dresses of these signs. So yes, in the last 3 years, your ruler was in your own sign, so feeling just like you normally feel, with your own preferences and ideals. But now you will feel a change in yourself, in your environment, in your moods. Talking about moods, you might become much more sensitive, emotional, and moody, because Pisces is a water sign. So while your ruler transits Pisces, you will feel quite more intuitive, more attuned to people's feelings, more maybe drawn to artistic and creative means of self-expression. Yes, you might do some more art, some more therapy, more psychological or spiritual work and healing. And yeah, you might become much more altruistic, charitable, concerned about the well-being of everyone, and more like not because normally you are concerned with the practical ideas of how can I help others, how can I help the society, maybe being somehow socially or politically active, looking for like-minded people, sharing ideas, creating networks. But with Saturn, your ruler in Pisces, you will be much more into probably meditating, praying, sending vibrations of peace and of love to everyone, and feel much more attuned to the environment, to people, like there is no boundaries or no borders between us. You might become more flexible, by the way, which is not typical for the fixed sign of Aquarius, to be very stubborn and very attached to their own ideas. And now suddenly mutable water of Pisces will make you more adaptable to the circumstances and people around you. Of course, Saturnian transit through Aquarius, through your own first house, if we talk about rising sign Aquarius, or at some point Saturn crossed your sun, your moon, if you are watching me now and you are Aquarius moon sign. Well, that's quite a beginning of a new 30-year cycle for you, I would say. But I talk about this more in depth in my yearly forecast video, Aquarius 2023 it's called. I uploaded it on my channel around the beginning of December last year. It's more than 1 hour long. I carefully study every most important transit for the whole this year. So if you have not yet seen it, I advise you to look for it on my channel, Aquarius 2023. But now let's focus on Saturn going into Pisces, which is your second house. Saturn is the great reviser, the auditor, really. And he will be auditing and revising the stock of basically everything you own, of your belongings, your possessions, and of course your budget, your finances. Saturn likes to organize. Saturn likes to streamline. Saturn is very rigid, quite ascetic planet, I would say. So first of all, your income or income sources might become fewer, less of them. But on the other hand, your income might become quite stable. You know, Saturn does not like to rush. It's a planet of good discipline, good organization. Its motto is less is more. And with effort, and only with serious effort, without cutting corners, you can achieve a lot of success and respect by others. So definitely less superficial spendings, for instance, but maybe you will be very strict with your budget. You will be more saving. Maybe your work will become more responsible. You will rise, occupy some higher organizational positions, because Saturn really likes to rule others, let's say, to manage, to organize. So you might become a boss, you might open your own business, manage a team, and maybe because you are, let's say, now starting something new at work, it will require patience, time, and continuous efforts in order to build it properly, to make it work for you. So that's why maybe at the beginning there will be some decreasing of your income overall. Remember that Saturn is not only a kind of scary and strict, rigid planet, because yes, sometimes Saturn can bring some obstacles, some challenges, some delays. So if you are at the moment doing some work and you will expect some payment for this job, it might take some months or even some years for you to receive this money, or you will be getting the payment in small pieces, but regularly, for example. Yeah, Saturn is not about anything extravagant or huge. That's more the topic of Jupiter. Nevertheless, Saturn is something stable. With Saturn, you might be prone to overwork, so be careful with this, because by second house, we also need to take care of our bodies, of our boundaries. So if someone is trying to criticize you at work, to inspire you some feeling of guilt, of shame, putting you a lot of responsibilities but not paid, expecting that you will work day and night, you have to be strict with yourself and with your bosses and with your colleagues maybe, and be well organized, but have the clear understanding and division of life work processes. You'll have to be responsible and planning your work activities. Also, Saturn really doesn't like opulence and too much of things. So maybe he will do inventarization of what you own, like for instance your clothing, your furniture, and you will decide to get rid of the old stuff. Maybe you will realize they're just cluttering your life. There is no space for energy to flow. So it's a good idea to donate something, do some charity with stuff that you don't need anymore. Saturn is a planet that brings sometimes fear, worries with him wherever he goes, in a sense, like doubts, like, am I good enough? Can I ask for pay raise, for instance? There might be some hesitations. And you can, of course, always ask for some pay raise, but with Saturn, it has to be really deserved. Yeah, as I started saying, he's not only a scary planet of challenges and delays, but in ancient Rome, people were celebrating Saturn as the god of good harvest. The thing is that he is very just. He likes justice. He is exalted in the sign of justice of Libra. So Saturn brings you rewards according to your own merits and efforts. So if you have a properly built CV, if you can show some products done, if you can prove to yourself on the very first place that you deserve the promotion, that you deserve higher payment, higher position, that you are ready to open your own business, that you're ready to invest in something long term without wanting immediately to get the reward from it, and you can prove to yourself and to others that you are a skilled, experienced worker, then of course you can be proud of yourself and ask for decent position and payment. But it has to rely on some solid proof and foundation of your expertise, of your experience, products, and work. Remember, Saturn is not about sprinting. It's a marathon. It's slowly but surely, persistently, consistently gaining maybe the work experience that you need. Building your confidence, because Saturn initially can hinder your confidence, as we said, but eventually you will realize that you are achieving the level of an expert and you deserve your rewards. Saturn is the planet of time. So you need time to practice, to improve, to prove yourself. With time, superficial or hasty or unnecessary job tasks or plans or possessions will fade away. And second house is also the area of our resources. So most probably Saturn will make you judge, kind of decide what is most important for you, to prioritize. As we said, Saturn doesn't like to be stressed, be hasty and rush with things and multitask. He likes focus on one single thing, but a quality, proper thing. So resources, what do you value the most in your life? Whether it's your lifetime, whether it's your family, spend time with your family, whether it's work and building your reputation and your career achievements, whether it's home, whether it's traveling and gaining experience in the world, whether it's being a parent. So each one's case is absolutely different, but I just give some possible interpretation here. So Saturn will ask you to focus on 1, 2, maybe maximum 3 most important things in your life, and how to properly solidify them and build them the way that they are long-term, long-lasting, and that then you can be proud of what you created, what you built. So definitely cut off your expenses on unnecessary things. You might be saving on something very important, like a house or property, vehicle, for instance. Pay attention to how you treat yourself, your body. Second house is the nutrition, the diet, the nourishment we give to ourselves. So here Saturn might introduce you to some fasting from time to time, Ekadashi or Christian fasting according to Christian holidays. Or some other systems to clean yourself, your body. Just, of course, remember the diverse diet. So don't deprive yourself of some minerals, vitamins that your body needs, because really Saturn can be just like very rustic, like, potatoes and barley, nothing more. But of course, you will need your calcium, you will need your vitamins. Saturn might stiffen your body, so it's good to always have time for a little bit of yoga or stretching exercises. So yeah, this is how I think this 3 years transit through your second house will more or less look like. But then on the 21st of March, we have a new moon at 0 degrees Aries. It might fall in your second house or in your third house. So if we talk about second house, then there might be these new opportunities at work, new projects, somewhere that you can show your expertise and talents and prove to be a valuable, skilled worker and expert. Remember what Saturn wants to show you in the second house, that you deserve respect for your achievements and efforts. If this new moon happens in your third house, then it might be some new acquaintances, new team, new vehicle, new trips, new environment, new neighborhood, new course, new skills that you want to gain, that you start around the mid-March. The new moon conjuncts both Mercury in Aries and Neptune in Pisces. So it promises to be with a lot of communication, a lot of interaction with other people, planning, running around. And also it's connected to Neptune, so to some kind of dreams and ideals of ours. There might be some business trip for you, for instance. Be careful with the speeds, be careful with the rushed actions, because this new moon does square as well Mars, its own ruler. So the same hasty feeling, a little bit more intense as at the beginning of the month with the full moon on the 7th of March. Try to avoid confrontations, unnecessary conflicts, maybe with your kids, with your loved ones. It's good though to invest your energy into some sport activities with them, maybe trips somewhere, maybe invest your energy and passion into your own hobbies and creative projects and your own business. This new moon makes a positive aspect a sextile to Pluto, who will try to help us to be more focused, more organized, self-disciplined, achieve what we want to achieve, no matter the cost. And Pluto at this moment will be at 29 degrees Capricorn. Now, any planet that is crossing the last degree of any sign feels like a little bit more under stress. Like we need to finish something, wrap up something, or, make evaluation of the past efforts. Conclude some project of this planet in this particular sign before it moves on to a new territory. So that's kind of normal. But because Pluto is so slow and half of the time he actually is retrograde, so he will be coming to the 29 degree of Capricorn a couple of more times. So I want to explain to all of us that despite the feeling that we have the last chance to do the last push to purge or clean something or achieve something, the Pluto goals, or get rid of something in life, this feeling will be with us for the last time in the autumn of 2024. Then for the last time, Pluto will revisit Capricorn. Well, for you, that's very interesting area. That's your 12th house. So all this intense tensions are going kind of in your subconsciousness, so you're not consciously aware of all this heavy duty that Pluto has been doing for the past couple of years, for sure, in your 12th house of the past, of memories, of past lives, of subconsciousness. So big cleansing really was going on there. Maybe Pluto was taking to the surface some old fears, phobias, traumas, so you can actually hear about them, realize that you have them, and do something about them, because the point of Pluto is not just to scare us, but is just for us to face our own troubles, issues, problems, to recognize them, to either accept them or transform them somehow, so we can ourselves transform and become stronger, wiser. Maybe it's time for you to be free from all these things from the past that are just like ropes holding you back in the past. Some bad habits, being addicted to something, being afraid of something, toxic relationships, some family patterns, some ancient ancestor programs that are still like encoded in you, but you don't need them anymore, so you want to break free from them. Emotional baggage overall comes with the 12th house. And how does Pluto act this way, especially now being in the 29 degree of Capricorn? Well, maybe through your dreams. Maybe if you do some hypnotherapy or regression or even constellation to work with relationship with your family members and ancestors, parents, grandparents, then you can see the truth about your own problematic issues with these people. Definitely it's great while Pluto transits your 12th house to work with psychologists, therapists. Amazing if you are interested in esoterics, especially what I do, psychological astrology. Work with some art, with images, in order to discover what's lying underneath in the shadow of your subconscious, and eventually be lighter, get rid of this emotional baggage. On the 23rd of March, we will experience a historical transit. For the first time in 240 or so years, Pluto enters into Aquarius, into your sign. Now, that is exciting, definitely. But as I mentioned, he still has to revisit Capricorn a couple of times. This time he will dip his toe in your sign from 23rd of March till 11th of June only, couple of months, right? Then back to Capricorn, and then of course again back to Aquarius, where he will stay for 20 years. 20 years he will be crossing the 30 degrees of your sign. I'm not saying that every single day you will be feeling Pluto walking through your sign. Of course, you will feel it the most when he approaches your ascendant, your rising sign, or your sun or your moon, or any other personal planet you have in Aquarius. But overall, yes, I think that's a very, very important transit for you. Pluto is a very serious planet. And any planet that crosses the ascendant and starts a new cycle, as if in our natal charts. So for you, after this period of Pluto in the 12th house of purging and cleansing, it will be, you probably will feel like there is a rebirth. So by the way, yeah, pay attention of how do you feel, what's going on in your life now between March and the beginning of June, because that might be like a little foretaste of the next 20 years for you. So physically, some kind of a rebirth, transformation of your body, transformation on a material level, right? Because if 12th house was more about subconscious and psyche and emotions and the soul, first house is quite physical, is the material world, is our environment, is how we interact with the world, is what we start in this world. The idea of Pluto transiting your first house is for you to take the responsibility for your own life, to cut ties with any old programs or any blaming you have had so far to other people, circumstances, parents, government. No, Pluto wants you empowered. Pluto wants you self-disciplined, in self-control, absolutely self-righteous, if you will, like respecting yourself, trusting your ability, regain your power, wisdom. And Pluto is definitely a very ambitious planet, so he will increase your own ambitions to achieve something very important in this world, to become powerful, maybe influential, popular, rich. Maybe you will start thinking about your own business, about the legacy you want to leave later for the world. You will be quite convincing, because Pluto is amazing manipulator. So please don't fall into the negative vibrations of this planet, which could be hungry for power, ruthless, manipulative. When we say that the means, the goal justifies the means. So here, try to keep some high morals. It's very important, because Pluto can raise people very high, but then also if these people are somehow unfair or with evil, egotistical intentions, it's very easy to fall very low too. And by the way, yes, you can be prepared that with Pluto in the first house, or when he will be crossing your moon, sun, ascendant, it might feel like on roller coaster, so much so that you will be also like almost dizzy, like wanted to puke constantly, right? Because there might be such a period of purging, of cleansing your own body, that the toxins must leave somehow your body, or there must happen something that will shake you up and say to you, hey, stop this bad habit, right? Start taking care of your health, of build boundaries around yourself. You cannot go on anymore like you used to. So remember, complete change of environment, which might include relocation, which might include forming a family or quitting old family, divorcing, separation, and so on. You might find the second half of your soul, the life partner, the soulmate, someone very impactful, very important, or you might become such person for someone else, because Pluto will be in your first house, so you will be influencing very much the world around you. Try to avoid such states as of jealousy, as of wanting to control others, to push others, because Pluto is a difficult psychological planet of extremes. So you might become, you are, as we said already, very fixed energy, and Pluto might make you even more fixated on some idea, ideal. So, you know, you might become too much uncompromising, too scary to deal with, especially if you want to keep everything under your own control and make other people obey your will. And you will have very strong willpower, that's true, but again, let's try to use it for some greater good of yourself and of the society. Aquarius, you're a social sign, you always look for the development of the society. Pluto will bring you a lot of passion. Like if you have a lot of air in your chart, an Aquarius is an air sign, very much in the head, in the brain, intellectually processing everything, information, usually not going too deep into emotions, which does not mean you don't have them and you don't feel them, but maybe you just prefer so far not to pay attention to them. But here you go, Pluto is the big digger, so he will dig out any hidden thoughts, feelings, emotions that you did not want until now, until recently, to admit that you have. So now you will have to, and you'll have to throw them away from your body. Be very fair, be very just, be very honest, because the Pluto sometimes might bring feelings of awkwardness, shame, guilt, desire to do something bad and then hide it, interest in taboo topics. You might become interested in psychology, in criminology, in some structures of power, secret services, you know, which already means that you will try to hide something. And yeah, Pluto doesn't like to be so much on the bright spotlight, but rather to act from behind the curtains, you know, from behind the scene. So you might take some position or some role that is more of a research, more working in some isolated place in laboratory, or you know, preparing something, or observing some reality and making analysis and conclusions. Pluto is a very analytical planet, but yes, also he can make you much more scorpionic, so much more intense, emotional, paranoid in some sense. So again, let's be careful with fixed ideas and fixations on something or someone. You will become very magnetic, very attractive, like a magnet indeed. So here it's important to have this permeability, you know, kind of selective permeability, to choose your environment, because there will be a lot of influence, mutual influence with your environment. Very confident, fearless. Pluto does not know fear. Very focused, like you'll have a laser brilliant focus on something. So it's a good idea to start some important projects in your life that require your passion, that require your dedication, that require you to believe in yourself, you to use possible instruments or means that you have. Learning, studying, fantastic. You can become a great psychologist or expert in occult sciences, in esoteric sciences. Here some images of the books and movies like The Godfather, the Wolf of Wall Street can come into mind. Be careful with addictions, definitely, as Pluto does not know limits. So you might try something, you might hook on something, you know, so it's better not to try to avoid reality through any sort of addictive substances. Regeneration of the body. Definitely you'll discover that your body can go to unhuman, almost unhuman boundaries and levels of resistance, of regeneration, even if there will be some illness, sickness. I mean, it's normal in 20 years of this transit. We are all humans, but you might decide to practice the Wim Hof method of strengthening your immune system. So going into some extreme conditions, maybe your work will require you to go to the desert or some very hot places, or go to some train your body with some ice showers or ice cold bathtubs, training breath capabilities, how much you can hold your breath and so on. But again, everything must be in some kind of reasonable frames, and always, of course, conducted under supervision of experts and doctors. There might be more stress there because Pluto can induce some fears, right? So you might feel like you're constantly ready to fight or flight or freeze, this kind of survival instinct might switch on. And sometimes it's needed, sometimes not really. Yes, you might feel like you are in danger, or maybe your work will require you to travel in zones of conflict or something like this. So there will be this readiness to survive, to jump, to fight, or to run for your life. Or it might be just purely paranoia and imagination of your brain, actually. Shedding of the old skin, we can say here, shedding of the old skin, changes of gender, changes of style completely, like people will meet you in 5 years and won't be able to recognize you, as Pluto rules plastic surgery, Pluto rules surgery generally. So, getting rid of some inflammation in your body or some element that is not needed anymore, in order to become, of course, stronger and healthier. Also, another metaphor comes to mind of the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. If so far you felt like you are unhappy in some shape or form with yourself, with your life, with your behavior, with your attitude, with your relationship with the world, or with someone particular, so here Pluto can help you transform completely. And be like the phoenix bird, to be reborn. When people are born with Pluto on the ascendant or near the sun or the moon, it seems like you're like a cat. So you have 9 lives, in a sense that every period of life is so different than the previous one. Different group of friends, different location, different profession. So maybe now you also will change drastically your education or profession. If Pluto conjuncts your sun eventually in Aquarius, then through crisis, through experiencing this kind of power struggles with someone, competition maybe, you will have to prove yourself that you're worthy, that you can do anything on your own, that you have your goals. You might become obsessed with some goal, definitely, and that you will achieve it, and you can become very rich, very famous, very popular, very respected person, very influential person, with Pluto conjuncting Sun. If Pluto conjuncts your moon, if you have your moon in Aquarius, you might feel emotionally, of course, intense. You might go into such emotional depths that you never even thought you can have them, or a human being can experience such deep turmoils of emotions. Again, be careful with what is real and what is just imagination of fears, or fears coming from your subconscious. But hopefully now you will deal with them well. Pluto is still in your 12th house. Moon is also about our body, so there might be drastic body transformations, like for instance pregnancy, giving birth. Sun might represent father figure, moon might represent mother figure. So of course, with Pluto transiting them in your natal chart, then there might be some changes in the life of these people, like elderly women or important male figures in your life with the sun. Your habits might change, your home environment and family setting might change. You might feel very vulnerable if Pluto conjuncts, or when Pluto conjuncts your moon. But yes, you will face yourself. Really, Pluto is like a mirror to see all of you very honestly, and to see also how strong you can be and how honest and powerful you can be. Again, once again, even when with Pluto transiting your first house, very important is to be aware, to follow psychology. Basically, you can create miracles. Really, you'll have such a stamina, such a willpower, that it's just important where towards you direct it, where towards you guide your willpower, whether to something self-destructive, addictive, full of fears, or the opposite, to something that helps you grow and become a better version of yourself, or become a completely new person, you know. So that's why all sorts of self-help books, setting intentions, visualizations, I think all of this can help you, including, of course, prayers, meditations, will help you to ground yourself and to constructively use this huge power that is coming now into your own hands, to power to change yourself and to change the world around you, really. Maybe you will be interested in business, in politics, in finances, or psychology. Yeah. And finally, on the 25th of March, Mars goes into Cancer after 8 months, crossing Gemini, because Mars was retrograde in Gemini up until last month, January. And so now for 2 months, 2 months and a half, he will be in Cancer. For you, this is your 6th house. So now the drive, the ambition, the energy, motivation goes into the area of your work and daily routine. So, wow, that's good. You will be very skilled to repair something around the house, DIY, do it yourself, repair the vehicle. You'll have a lot of energy for sport, for jogging, running, martial arts, for example. So use this not so long transit, just 2 months, to be proactive, to be useful. But be careful, of course, with some bruises, with some cuts, some traumas. Try to be rather focused and organized. You can be very efficient at work, definitely, very straightforward with your colleagues, with your employees. You can accomplish a lot of job for these 2 months. Try to avoid confrontations and just scandals, let's say. But if there is a need to be assertive at work, to claim your rights, maybe your raise in payment, less work, more work, make workers work properly for you, then of course you will have the courage and the strength to show your character and assert yourself. So dear Aquarius, this is how I see March for you. I wish you a very empowering, strong, interesting, beautiful months. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Pisces. This is your astrological forecast for the upcoming month of March. Let's see the most important astrological events from your perspective. This forecast is for rising sign, so ascendant, but also for sun and moon Pisces. We start the month with a full moon on the 7th of March at 16 degrees Virgo. This is your 7th house, and you will feel the most this full moon if your descendant is around the 16th degree of Virgo. Full moons are moments of clarity, of culminations. Maybe they can bring some news, some results of previous actions and efforts. Endings oftentimes too. In this case, it is connected to something that you have maybe intended or dreamed about or started around the new moons in the same sign. So Think back around the 27th of August 2022 or around the 7th of September 2021. If you keep a diary of new moons writing your wishes down, maybe you can open those pages and check what you have wished for, because now maybe it's coming to a culmination, a fruition, or you will understand how to fix it properly so it works better. Seventh house is the house of your relationships, usually one-to-one relationships, some important ones, some where there is commitment or even a contract. So maybe there will be a culmination in your partnerships with your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, spouse. There might be engagements, weddings, divorces, but also we might talk here about work with your clients. Maybe you'll get some feedback from your clients. Possibly culmination of contract, work agreement, or any sort of other contract with some company that you work, or some advisors in your life. They might give you some indications, shed some light on important topics that are of interest for you. It might be related to some family matters. So really maybe wedding, divorce, relocation with a partner, because this full moon is squared by Mars in your fourth house. A lot of activity in the fourth house, maybe arguments with people with whom you live, whether parents or roommates or family. Maybe you are rebuilding, refurbishing the house because you want to sell it, or you want to buy a property. Maybe you work from home, so now this full moon in seventh house can bring you the contract, can bring you the buyer, the seller, tenants, or lawyers, or real estate agent. This full moon makes a positive aspect, a trine to Uranus in Taurus. That's your third house. So there is some unexpected move. There is some traveling, documents, negotiations. Maybe you have to modernize your online business. Maybe you'll find some clients, or you end collaboration with clients or with some PR experts, marketing department. Now you see the results of your campaign, for instance. With Uranus in the third house, it's a good idea to launch a website. That's how you can gain more clients, to do some international trade, to use applications. Yes, something more advanced, something more technological. Maybe you will like some electrocar, or you will want to somehow modernize your vehicle or your home, actually, right? Maybe there will be some interesting new collaboration with the IT skilled people, foreigners, someone you meet online. Maybe some fresh news from your siblings, your neighbors, maybe new neighborhood, new environment, indeed. Pisces, on the same day, we have a very important transit, especially for you. After 3 years being in Aquarius, now Saturn moves into your sign. For the next 3 years, he will be crossing Pisces up until February 2026. And of course, we're talking about your first house. A new cycle begins for you, a new cycle in this physical material world where you can build something, because building is the key, one of the key words for Saturn. Organization, maturation, discipline as well. Saturn is the big auditor. If you want to know also how Saturn was working in your 12th house until this moment, until the 7th of March, then go find in my channel, please, the video called Pisces 2023. It's almost a 2 hours long video, I believe, where I talk in depth about every single important transit of this year, 2023, for you Pisces. So you can rewatch this video as many times as you like throughout this year. But here, of course, we're talking more about the shifts we experience in March. So a new cycle begins that you can build, structure your life. Saturn can also destroy the weak foundations where he sees crooks, for instance, in how you take care of your well-being, of your health, of your body. Now suddenly you will realize much more your body, the time passing, the age, because Saturn is the planet of karma and of time. So don't be surprised if some chronicle issues come up to the surface. It's nothing new, it's just something that you were ignoring possibly so far, but your body gives you signals that you should change something in your maybe day-to-day routine, in your habits, in your environment. Yeah, Saturn would like you to take responsibility for yourself on the very first place, and then possibly for someone else too. So it's a serious planet. It's the kind of a parental planet. It's the planet of the manager, organizer, the boss, you know, kind of like the godfather figure from the books and the movie. So you will have to take control in your own hands of your own life, Pisces. You're normally like a very dreamy sign, a sign that does not like to be contained in some kind of borders. You believe in the connectedness of the world, but Saturn is the planet of rules, regulations, borders, obstacles oftentimes. So you might suddenly feel constrained somehow, like pushed into some limited space, for instance, and that can be because of several reasons. Maybe you're getting pregnant, so you have to be now more careful with your health, and slow down. Maybe you're traveling around and so on. Maybe you need to take care of some elderly member of your family, or maybe you take a loan because you want to become independent, live in a separate location, but for now you have to work, you have to pay the loan, you have to build the house, you have to repair the new property. So you still have to live maybe with your parents for a couple of months or years. Maybe you are a young parent now, so your routine is now suddenly so much with much more responsibilities and feels like burden on your shoulders. But take the challenges, how to say, with take them as adventures, something to prove yourself that you're strong, that you're capable, that you can manage on your own, that you can do things. Because yes, especially if your moon is here in Pisces, and when Saturn reaches your moon, you might feel a bit more isolated, lonely, like you can't express your feelings, like people don't understand you. Those are just feelings. And of course, Saturn crosses your moon maybe maximum a year, depends if he will be retrograding over your moon. But the point is to grow up, and to accept the physicality of life, the mortality of life, the thing that we are all, our souls have bodies, and those bodies are just like a vehicle for the soul. And sometimes with the Saturn transit over your moon, sun, or the first house, you can see some wrinkles for the first time, or white hair, silver hair. You can even prefer to wear Saturnian color, so kind of dye your hair in silver color, or try to start wearing more black, brown colors. Your style might change, become maybe because you had a raise, promotion at work, and now you have to have a dress code to wear this more classy and classical and strict costumes, dresses. You might need to work on your personal boundaries, because either Saturn will limit you somehow regarding traveling or space of living. It might be smaller, colder, facing north possibly, more stone, more wood around you. Maybe you go to live on a farm, building your own farm, and it takes time, right? So be patient, but also Saturn will teach you to have self-control, self-discipline, and personal boundaries. So people stop invading your space with unwanted advices or just dragging you around places you don't want to go, activities and so on. You'll have to decide for yourself now. Regarding people in your life, there might be now less of them, because the motto of Saturn is less is more, less is better, more serious is better, more reliable people around you. You yourself will become now suddenly much more strict, more organized, more reliable, coming on time to places. If you promise something, then you better deliver it. But you won't be even, you won't even want to promise too much without being sure that you will deliver. So you will be selective with your contacts. Now Saturn brings this selective permeability to your life. So you might cut ties with people who are coming and going, passers-by. You can't trust them, because you mature, and of course your environment, by you growing, must evolve and change as well. Maybe you'll spend time with elderly people more if you work in such institution. There might be some self-doubts. Be prepared about this, because Saturn is a planet that wants status, that wants achievements, that wants respect. Yes, it's the planet of slowly but surely. It's the planet of patiently and consistently doing something, not rushing, not overwhelming yourself, if we talk about exercises even, but regularity. This is the key word of Saturn too. But you might feel like insecure, unsure, doubting yourself, fear of criticism, fear of people mocking you or not living up to their expectations. So here again, you'll have to find the center within yourself, this inner core, this inner conviction that you are worthy, that you are a good expert, that you produce something tangible, something really, whether it's a publication, a book, master thesis, a baby, a business, a home, a family, a blog, whatever it is. Saturn will want you to at least start in your first house. You can just start doing something, some product, something that then you can show and say to the world, look at this, even 10 years later, it's still good. It's long lasting. It's of a quality. So I can call myself an amazing expert. People can rely on me. I am, I'm respected person, respectable. So if you feel down, if you feel uncertain, then just repeat, try, work hard, and the success will come. Saturn is the planet that in ancient Rome, people were venerating like the god of harvest. But for you now, it's just planting the seeds, because he starts a new 30-year cycle. Just the old 30-year cycle just finished there in the 12th house. And when Saturn crosses your ascendant, it's the new beginning. So baby steps, remember, not all at once, but maybe just serious planning will be good. At least knowing where you're heading, what you want to achieve in 7, 14 years. And so, the cycle overall is 29 years, 30, 29 years. You will face reality, definitely. So just this why it can be a bit like disillusionment, of you, Pisces, with these beautiful dreams and escapism in some sort. There might be a feeling of tiredness because of some restrictions, because of some responsibilities. That's quite normal. Take care of your health. Be gentle to yourself. Take calcium, because Saturn can bring problems with teeth, bones, hair. So any products, again, vitamins, mostly, of course, vitamins against hair loss. And so try to go to yoga or to Tai Chi to stretch, because Saturn might stiffen your body, your spine. You might suddenly start walking like this with, your shoulders and head down. So always mind your posture. Building inner spine, inner core, basically. That's important. So no matter what happens next, if even the ocean brings some huge waves and so on, that you can be, like standing like a rock, solid. Building some new, you start building some new solid foundations in your life. Your environment, as we mentioned, might become now like of elder people, parents, managers. You might go into business, and yeah, try to stay disciplined and have some goal. Prioritize, streamline, make an audit, make like revision of what you possess, of what you own. Maybe you need to declutter your life a little bit. And yeah, ancient astrologers called when Saturn conjuncts your moon a period of sadesati. According to them, it lasts way longer than what in Western astrology we consider as just precise conjunction of the transiting planet with the natal one. In this case of Saturn, can be up to a year, for instance, on your moon. But according to ancient astrologers, the sadesati period starts even when Saturn is in the previous sign of your moon. Then the hardships come when Saturn is in the sign of your moon, and of course on top of it, passing, conjuncting your moon. And then it lasts even for 3 more years while Saturn crosses the next sign of your moon. So quite an extended period, but of course the biggest lessons come when Saturn is on the top of your moon, precisely. So then you might feel a bit more like restricted, isolated. Responsibilities might come, changes might come to the life of elderly women in your life, motherly figures in your life. The same way when Saturn crosses your sun, you might feel like someone is opposing you, restricting you, criticizing you, or that you have to be very serious, with serious intentions about your life goal. Don't give up, definitely. Well, Saturn is a test. Saturn is here to put your desires, goals, ambitions, lifestyle, health on test. If there is a problem, it means that you do something wrong. And this is what Saturn actually wants you to see. And be very responsible to your life, because lifetime is limited, basically. This is the main lesson of Saturn. That's why we have to be prioritizing and spending time and attention to the really important things and people in life. Saturn doesn't like superficiality and wasting time. On the 21st of March, we have a new moon at 0 degrees Aries, which might fall in your first or in your second house, actually, Pisces. So if it's in your first house, then there might be this new desire for sport, for some new activity, new projects, new relationship, anything basically new you can start around this new moon if the 0 degrees Aries falls into your first house. If it's in your second house, then we might talk about some new projects at work, new diet even, new income possibly, or at least negotiation for such, because this new moon conjuncts Mercury in Aries. So there might be some movement, traveling, negotiations, contracts regarding work or anything else new in your life. And also this new moon still conjuncts Neptune in your first house. So it's somehow activating a dream of yours, some vision, some ideal that you can fulfill. The new moon makes a square to Mars, so there is again like a bit of a hasty feeling, just like at the beginning of the month with the full moon on the 7th of March. So there are some activities or conflicts at home, so try not to fight with relatives or with with whom you live at home. Better invest this energy into sport together or repairments of the home. You will have a lot of focus because this new moon sextiles, it's a positive aspect of help and support, it sextiles Pluto. Pluto, which is currently at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Whenever we have a planet crossing the very last degree of whichever sign, this planet feels a bit more under pressure and stress because it feels like the time is running out in this sign. And before going into next territory to explore and learn some new lessons, we have to make sure that we have finished all the duties and projects that this particular planet has in this particular sign. But here is the news. With Pluto in the 29 degree of Capricorn, we will be revisiting this feeling of urge of last push, finishing something, because Pluto will be for the last time at 29 degrees Capricorn at the autumn of 2024, so next year. Yeah, because he's such a slow planet. He's half of the time retrograde. So yes, important changes are coming with Pluto dipping his toe into the next sign, Aquarius. But also he will be from time to time revisiting this last degree of Capricorn. So for you, Capricorn is your 11th house, I assume, according to the whole sign systems for sure. So you are changing, transforming somehow your incomes. You want to receive some acknowledgement, maybe a award for your professional duties. Maybe you want to quit your job. Maybe you want to go on maternity leave. Maybe you want to open or close a business. And 11th house is usually the results we get from the 10th house activities. Maybe it's about online project, business, teaching, studies. Maybe it's about some collective project, group project, participation in a group of people, whether as a profession or as a hobby. And here you're preparing something big, massive, and finally it's the time to launch it or to wrap it up. You know, it might be different situations. Maybe you are launching a NGO or a political party or program. Maybe now Pluto will make you famous because Pluto himself represents huge masses of people, big audience, big reach, big money, big business. You know, Pluto is about the real deal, the serious stuff. Influence, big influence on others. 11th house is about friendship, so Pluto might reveal when he is in the 29 degree. It's time to open up your eyes about who are your true friends and people to trust and to rely on. Pluto is the big purger, so he will purge also some maybe hidden enemies or just people who are dragging you down. But also 11th house is the house of your own long-term goals, dreams, plans. So here Pluto is like, come on, you have to finally fight for your dream. It's your own duty. Take control in your own hands. You can do it. Or find like-minded people with whom you will work together for this big social cause, for instance. And then on the 23rd of March, Pluto goes into Aquarius, a historic transit indeed. I think last time he was in Aquarius like 240 something years ago. This time only dipping his toe from 23rd of March till 11th of June, but enough for all of us to feel how the next 20 years will go with Pluto transiting Aquarius. Of course, we won't feel him every single day, but the energy will be there. Pluto in Aquarius, and this is for you, your 12th house. Now that's very interesting because in your first house is Saturn, who is like making you grow in the material world, start something new, build something, take responsibilities about your life. Meanwhile, on the subconscious level, Pluto will roll up his sleeves. to make you transform internally, subconsciously, to make you realize something about your past, about your shadow side. It's going to be a huge energetic, psychological, emotional work. 12th house is usually what we drag as emotional baggage from childhood, something we don't even remember, maybe from when we were in the bellies of our moms, or maybe from past lives. And those usually come up in our dreams. So now Pluto can work seriously with your dreams. You might be interested in a hypnotherapy, to do some hypnotic work, do regressions to past lives, to understand your soul better, take an astrological consultation in which we also can see the soul mission. You might face at some point of this 20 years some paranoias of yours, some fears which come from some traumas. You might realize that there are some unhealthy addictions, unhealthy relationships in which there is some control or power struggle or fear or obsession. So the point is to realize it, to understand it, to face it, to deal with it, and to eventually heal it, of course. Let it go. So don't be surprised if maybe through your dreams, maybe through some repeated situations in life, if you are aware and pay attention to the repetitions, to kind of analyze them. Pluto is the planet of awareness and of deep research and analysis. So you will be able to understand why the same patterns are repeating in your life. How are you self-sabotaging yourself? Why you meet the same type of abusers, people in your life, and so situations and so on. And throughout all this dirty work, really, which might be dirty, scary, unsettling, neurotic, stressful, anxious, through all of this, you will find the biggest treasures in you. So it's a very interesting combination of these big two planets working, Saturn working consciously on the conscious level. You're building up your inner core of strength and reliability and responsibility. And at the same time, Pluto internally making the purging of what holds you back. This is incredible, Pisces, really. You will come up so powerful from all these transits. Pluto in the 12th can bring you to points of moments of catharsis, of liberation, purging, getting rid of all this sick, ill stuff that poison you from within. By the way, it might be also literally about your bad habits. You can take hold of them, quit smoking, drinking, and so on. Quit the abusive relationships, heal what you hold as responsibility or grudges towards your parents, ancestors. Growing up, maturing, process of real separation can come from your family and old family patterns. You can forgive, you can finally find the power to really honestly let go, have some kind of a penitence in a sense, maybe even to yourself, and forgiveness. With Pluto in the 12th, you will be like an X-ray person, honestly. You will feel others, you will feel their motivations, their intentions. You will be like, there is a Sherlock Holmes sitting here on your shoulder and whispering in your ear what's going on exactly. It's a great transit if you work in a laboratory, if you are preparing some publication, if you're doing researches, if you're more in libraries, if you work more online, a bit more isolated. And of course, amazing job for internal work, psychological work, shamanic healing, meditations, tantric experiences. If you do some art, it's going to be very powerful, very impactful on society, very intense art. You might be painting all night long or something like this. You might emigrate, relocate, you might be drawn to places that are familiar already to you from past lives. So be aware that coincidences in the next 20 years won't be mere coincidences. Most probably you will be taken to people, to places, lessons that it's just karmic. Yeah, you have to cross them in order for your soul to learn something here, to leave something behind possibly, and to progress further. There might be some secret relationships or relationship online, but be careful of manipulative relationships and addictions. Emotional detoxification, really how great it can feel at the end. And with both transits, Pluto in your 12th and Saturn in your 1st, you have to be very honest. You have to find the strength within yourself and to accept yourself as you are, the truth and nothing but the truth. And that's how you will regain power. Because the more we are ashamed of or afraid of something, the more these secrets have control over us, right? At any moment, you're just constantly scared that it will be revealed. So it's very important to be strict, to be very honest, basically. Admit if you have done something in the past. It's normal. We all do this constantly, right? Forgive yourself, as we said, forgive your parents, understand the karmic consequence, this chain of reasons and effects of something. Yeah, and that we reap what we sow as well. Those are the lessons both of Saturn and of Pluto in the 12th house. So nothing happens without some higher meaning and reason. You might discover spirituality, religion, be aware of false gurus, of sects, of manipulators, predators, who disguise like, spiritual leader or something like this. Trust yourself, trust your intuition. You'll have to do quite a lot of inner and outer work at the same time in the next years, dear Pisces. Well, that's very interesting. I wish you an amazing, empowering, interesting, positive month of March. Oh, let me just finish here that Mars finally on the 25th of March leaves Gemini and goes into Cancer for the next 2 months. So he will be agitating your 5th house. So there can be a lot of passion with your loved ones, maybe even a bit of arguments and fights, but sometimes we have to be bold and assertive. If there was some too much compromising and you were quiet just not to offend someone else, especially people you love, maybe now you have to be more assertive. There might be some discords possibly with children as well if you have them 5th house. The best way to utilize and channel this energy of Mars here is to do some sports, some fun activities together, maybe even some more like fast driving or more extreme sports. Your hobby, you might become again passionate about something that you like doing, something that motivates you. You might invest all this Martian energy into your business if you have such. And as I was saying, dear Pisces, really, I wish you an amazing March. Pay attention to what's going on here, because this planet is just ingress in their new signs. So of course it doesn't mean that immediately there must be these changes, but I think there will be the first signs of what is awaiting us ahead. And as usually, dear Pisces, take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.